This is The Metro. I'm Tia Graham. And music is a powerful conduit for stories to move through. One note can paint 1,000 pictures or tell 1,000-year-old histories. Xiao Dong Wei is an internationally recognized erhu master whose journey into music began in China at the tender age of 5. Her work has taken her across the globe and landed her here in the Detroit area. She's been building a career blending traditional Chinese music with contemporary styles like jazz, rock, and orchestral performance, playing over 20 instruments. But her work goes beyond music. She uses the sounds of traditional Chinese instruments to bridge cultures, expanding what's considered classical symphonic music. On April 24th, Sounds of the Pacific Rim will invite audiences to explore the sounds of the Oscar-winning score for Ang Lee's Oscar-winning film, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. The concert includes a pre-concert talk beforehand featuring Pacific Rim instruments, the erhu, and Japanese taiko drums. She will also premiere her own piece, Hometown Reflections. Joining us now in studio is Xiao herself. Xiao, welcome to the Metro.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, and as well, the former vice president of the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, Charles Ezra Ferrell.
Thank you, Tia.
Of course. Jumping into things with you, Xiao, you started playing the traditional erhu at the age of 5 years old. Now, before we get to the instrument itself, tell us a little bit about picking up the erhu. I know you said you felt a little guilty about it when you were growing up.
Yes, my dad was teaching. Actually, there's another story. I'll say real quick. My dad was putting a 9-inch black and white TV. At that time, nobody has that TV. So every after dinner, my neighbors, the whole neighborhood, were gathering in my house trying to watch TV. So one day my dad said, "Oh, today we're not going to watch TV. I want to teach my daughter." So I had a lot of witnesses for my first day.
Wow.
Yeah, and then, summertime and then this window, people just lean on the windowsill, just looking into my house. And then my dad started to teach my older sister, who was 8 years old at the time. And then because our have only 2 strings, so my dad will say, "Okay, let's mimicking the duck." So the duck sings like a gur gur ga, gur gur ga, gur ga gur ga, gur gur ga. So we're gonna play this pattern.
Wow.
So my dad was teaching my sister and said, "Okay, 2 times outside." We said, because the erhu construction is 2 string, the bow is tracked in between the 2 strings. So we call it outside string, means toward the audiences, and inside is toward yourself. So my dad said, "Okay, let's play two times outside, 1 time inside, 2 times outside, and 1 time outside, 1 time inside." So she couldn't get it. And then I was laying on the bed. The bed is very interesting too, because they are made up of bricks.
Yes.
So in the Northeast China, really cold. When we sleep on the bed, would made of brick, and then there's a little tunnel, the fire burning underneath, super warm. Yeah, so I was laying on that, have the comforter rolled it up. So I was laying on the bed. I was just listening, I was looking, and then she didn't get it. I was a little frustrated. That looks so easy.
And at 5 years old.
And everybody look at me, they just laugh. I'm like, "Easy, you try it." I couldn't wait. I just jumped up and then grabbed it. So I feel a little guilty. I said, then that's the end of my sister. She never had a chance to learn it.
Not after you picked it up at 5 and you just said, "I can do this," and you did it. And you absolutely did it. And when you were younger, your father worked as a director of a dance and music troupe. When did your dad know that you had a gift? Was that moment when you picked it up at 5 and he just said, "You know what, this is it"?
That's it.
Wow.
We call it, the God or the superpower, the creator,
Yeah.
to give you a meal.
Yeah.
In Chinese, it was give you a meal to eat. And every day I'm so grateful. I feel my meal is not just a meal, it's a banquet. I'm so grateful.
It's a banquet, it's a buffet.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
how did your parents foster that gift? I love the story that you were telling about your neighbors often telling on you for not practicing. So let's just talk a little bit about fostering that gift. And when you started to go into universities and you're playing with people much older than you, what was that like?
Yeah, at home when I practice, and then my neighbor all listening, told on me. And then I had this dream when I grow up, I'm going to beat up this man. Who told on me? I imagine, in my head. But anyways, and then I go to the Beijing, actually middle school, with affiliated with the Central Conservatory of Music. So, and we live in the dorm, just like the residential college right now. I'm teaching at University of Michigan residential college. So we live there.
Wow.
And, we had to do our own laundry or
in middle school.
Yeah. So when I was 11, and my mom said, when I was, she sent me away, I was just so happy to jump on the train. I go like my mom, she's all sad, and I didn't even know him. I just so excited getting my new journey.
Yes. And then you get on this new journey and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So how did China shape the artist you are today?
That's in my blood, I don't even know how they shape me, just in there. It's in there.
And talk a little bit about the hard work that you put in as a kid. Was it ever daunting for you to perform on such large stages, especially middle school, high school? Was it ever scary?
I love the performing. I love stage. When I go on stage, I play people think I play better than in front of people. I just love it.
The audience, what is the feedback like?
I have the feedback, it's just like, oh my God, she's so tiny and she can do this. And in the auditorium, I have a black and white picture and people behind me. It's all around like a sports event, auditorium. I have a photo of that. I'm just playing. I just love a stage. I love the energy, because live performance, instead of you recording or something, it's different. I love being surrounded people, and I love bring them to my world, take them with me on a journey. That's just so awesome.
Yes. And Charles, bringing you into this conversation as someone who has been steeped within the arts and culture world in the city of Detroit for years, what was your reaction when you first heard Xiao playing?
Riveting, a deeply spiritual moment that causes you to transport yourself to what I call the ancient present. You have an instrument that typically most instruments, most masters, virtuosos, understand that their daily practice, which is called Kung Fu or G-O-N, Kung Fu, which really is not a martial art, it means daily practice. And you start to practice so much, or it's an innate gift, that the instrument becomes an extension of your very self. And so there's a quote that music is what feelings sound like. And the great artists, Ferrell Sanders or Miles, they have a unique voice. The instrument is transformed in their hands, like Coltrane. And I place, the emotional aspect of the music. It just goes into your soul. When you had that opening that you did, Tia, it's just causes you to live the stress and pressures of reality and go inward, which is very meditative. So it's a difficult challenge to try to utilize words when you have a universal language. And the universal language is a connective tissue, right, globally. And that's one of the things we understand about the power of music and the power of this master, Xiao Dong Wei.
I'm speaking with Xiao Dong Wei, who is a multi-instrumentalist, master of the erhu, and an educator. I'm also joined by Charles Ezra Ferrell, who is the former vice president of the Charles H. Wright Museum. And we're talking about Xiao's career, the instrument she plays, the erhu, and an upcoming performance with the Michigan Philharmonic at the Hawk Theater in Farmington Hills. Now, Xiao, let's talk about moving to the States, moving to the Detroit area and continuing to master your sound and also changing the sound up as well, because like Charles was just saying, that instrument in your hands takes a different form. So what about that instrument have you been able to change that form?
First of all, physically, put it in electric device, so it can compete with the loud drums.
Yeah.
This physically, and then you can put pedals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this instrument, this pedal is actually made. The pedal I use is made Roland, the brand, Japanese made.
Yes.
And I have the function. If I push a button, I can play octave. So like a cello playing with me. Right now.
And for folks, once again, because we haven't defined what the erhu is yet, may you define it for those who have no idea what we're talking about.
So erhu is a 2-string Chinese violin. The bow is tracked in between these 2 strings, and the horsehair just like the violin bow. But the bow is made of a bamboo instead of wood. Wow. And with the difference with this is we have 2 strings, violin have 4, and violin have a fingerboard. We do not have a fingerboard.
Yes.
And no frets, no fingerboards. So like your finger look like a floating on there. So how do you apply? And then people, when they start learning this instrument, they try to hold it really tight, push really hard. No, I tell them not to push hard, just be there, but be there. So make sure your hand is on there, but don't push it.
Don't push it.
Yes.
Don't push it.
Don't push it.
I love that. May you briefly play a sample for us?
Okay.
Now, was that piece just off the top of your brain?
This actually is one of my work. It's called "Missing You," and I have a music video coming out. That song.
All right.
Yes.
So that's a new track that we just heard there, and it's going to have a music video soon.
Yes.
Yes, "Missing You." I'm looking forward to seeing that music video. Charles, you put your hand up immediately while she was playing. What were you feeling?
Yeah, we're listening to the listening audience who don't have the opportunity of seeing her do that number. What's immediately apparent is her movement, the swaying back and forth, the closing of the eyes, the oneness with the instrument, which is not evident. But, if you come out and see her live, which is the distinction, you'll be immersed by the totality of the performance, the oneness that she has with the instrument.
I love you brought that up, because when we come back from this quick break, we are going to ask you a little bit more about that extension of yourself when you're playing these instruments, because just like you just said, Charles, it looked like she was playing a part of her body almost. It just is amazing. Right now, we're speaking with Xiao Dong Wei, an internationally recognized erhu master and educator. On April 24th, Sounds of the Pacific Rim will invite audiences to explore the sounds of the Oscar-winning score for Ang Lee's Oscar-winning film, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. The concert includes a pre-concert talk beforehand featuring Pacific Rim instruments, erhu, and Japanese teku drums. She will also premiere her own piece, Hometown Reflections. When we return, we will learn more about preserving Chinese culture while creating new sounds and the upcoming event. You all stay right there. This is The Metro. This is The Metro on WDET. I'm Tia Graham. My guests are Xiao Dong Wei, a master of the erhu and educator, and Charles Ezra Ferrell, who is the former vice president of the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. On April 24th, Sounds of the Pacific Rim will invite audiences to explore the sounds of Oscar-winning score for Ang Lee's Oscar-winning film, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. There will also be a pre-concert talk featuring Pacific Rim instruments, the erhu, and Japanese taiko drums. Now, Xiao, bringing you back into the conversation, do you ever feel a responsibility to represent Chinese culture in a way when you experiment with new sounds?
I think as you're getting older, that feeling is stronger. When I'm young, I just go with what the feeling is. I enjoy what I do. And one time, I have a friend told me, "You got this talent. You have to share it." She said it really passionately. So, sometimes now, when I think about playing a concert, I think about what she said. I have to share it. So, and then I'm here. I'm Chinese. Of course, I'm representing my own culture, and I also feel very warmly welcomed by Detroit audiences. Once when I had a chance to go to live in California and Detroit. I choose Detroit over California.
I need to know why.
I love the weather of California, of course. Because Detroit is so famous. It's a iconic, city of music. So I just have so much respect for this city and adores, the people here is so nice. I have never felt like I'm not welcome. Everywhere I go, I feel the Detroiters' heart.
That's one thing I will say. Detroit will embrace you, especially if they feel your soul through the music. If they can feel you through the music, Detroit will embrace you no matter who or what that sound may be. Are there elements of your culture you've come to appreciate more deeply as your career has progressed?
When I was in college, we had a discussion of what is worldly, what is your nation, nation with your own, what's built in your blood. And so I learned that I had to, think through that, what I want to write. And then we come to agreement that the more your own language, that is worldly. Because we are our own souls, and then we connect in that level of togetherness.
Yeah.
No matter what form we are, but we're soulfully connected. So, and then I appreciate more my own culture more. I had a student in UFM also. She come to my class. She said, "I just want to know you." So she signed up for my class, and then she said, "Start practice Tai Chi." I said, "Tai Chi, oh my God, so slow. I can't do Tai Chi. I have too much energy. I gotta get this energy out. I can't do that." You see the Tai Chi people do it in the park. All the people really, really slow. Like, oh my God, it's like a slow motion, right?
Yes.
I don't think I can do it. So, but anyways, I start. Okay, I'll do it. She asked me to do it. Okay, I'll do it. So I enrolled in the Tai Chi class here. I have a Tai Chi master teaching in Nova area. So and then I started gradually, getting a little bit. Then when my hand touched the sword, that's the moment. Okay, Tai Chi sword, that's my thing. That's my thing. Oh, I got to have a weapon in my hand. Then okay, slow, it's okay. I'm flowing with that. So when I do the slow movement there, and the sword just take me. It just take me. So now I said, oh my God, a little youngster, 20-some years old, brought me back to more my traditional. But when I was growing up, you know what my couple of things I do when I was in school, I would recite the Chinese ancient poetries to sleep. I would close my eyes. I imagine what it's like. Because Chinese poetry is more poetic and romantic, and the feelings in between the lines and the pauses. That's when I lay down. I feel that. So, the ancient thing is in my blood, and sometimes my friends say, "Oh, you come across, That's why I think that piece I named "Travel Through Time." Also, I started with this 3,000 years old ancient instrument, guqin, 7-string, looks like a pedal steel guitar. You slide your finger left and right, and I start with that. And I have this music video gonna be starting with the slow Tai Chi. And then I'll come in with the sword. I have to come in with that sword. And then I rock it out with this 3,000 years guqin, okay? And it's rock and roll parts. I love rock and roll. I have to.
We're gonna, because I love that you brought it up naturally. So we're just gonna naturally go there. We're gonna travel through the time. We actually have that clip right now, and it's beautiful because it blends traditional Chinese sounds with so many different other sounds. But like you said, it starts off slower and then it builds up. So I'm hoping I clipped it just right so we have a little bit of both in here. So here is Travel Through the Time. Now, Xiao, is this Madam XD or is this Xiao?
This is Xiao.
Okay.
This is my electronic world fusion program, a project I do.
I know I'm nodding my head because as I was cutting this up today, I just said, this is such a beautiful blend of sounds and it's so rich and you can feel it all around you. When you are creating music like this, what are you thinking of first? Are you thinking of your traditional instruments and building around them? Or are you just kind of feeling through it?
I'm feeling through it. All about feelings.
Yeah.
I sit down, I start play, and it just flows out. So sometimes I don't feel it's my thing. It's like something passed through me. And then I just get it done. And talking about that piece, I'm really grateful for WDET. Actually, that is a WDET funded program. You had artists next door, and you select me as one of the artists, one in music. So 6 artists, we have a different disciplinary, and I'm the musician. You select me. When you select me, give me this grant, and then I need to create a piece. That is so wonderful. WT, thank you. Thank you so much.
And Travel Through the Time is through the Artist Next Door project. That was back in 2017.
Yes.
Wow.
And 2021?
2021.
Or 20, yeah. Yeah, later, little than that. But when I get the grant, I said, okay, I got to write something. I'm going to sit down and start writing. And then I didn't remember. I write it really fast, right? I call my writing style is Xiangping style. don't pop the top. Pop it come out. It just come out. Okay. And the one stream, done. And then my structure, my music structure, I might go back, change the notes, little detailed, but the structure is there, and I never want to change it. The structure, where to repeat, where to that, it just come out one. Just like, and then I think about, you talk about deep culture, right? Why this culture is in me, the Chinese culture in me, all the Chinese ancient poetry, actually, in that piece, I recited, before the music started, I recited talking, recited Chinese ancient poetry that I love. It's very scenery, talk about old trees, old villages, and those are all in the Chinese richness of the Chinese culture. You just can't, we're just so old. We're just so old, and everything there, I feel like I have a pockets,
Yes.
I just, stick in my hand in this pocket. I just grab and I throw on the table, and that's beats coming out. Pili-pala, pili-pala, in the Chinese sound, there is a pili-pala is a sound. When there's ancient poetry from Du Fu, talking on the pipa, one of the instruments I play, it's a pear-shaped lute I play. That poetry said, big beats, small beats dropping on the plates. So I feel like I grab a thing, I just drop on the plate, and you just listen to the sound, da-da-da-da, pili-pala, it's music itself. When I write, that's how I go with how I feel. And I don't think about categories. What category, what song I'm writing? I'm writing a Chinese classical. I'm writing a modern, I don't think about that.
Yeah.
I just go with the sound. My mom have a really good word to describe me. She said, that kid, whatever she thinks, she goes. She goes, there she go. And I don't have anything stop me here.
Yeah.
I just go, and then so that's how the music come from. It just flow out, roll it out, and done.
And it's done.
It's just so enjoyable. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful.
And I want to get to a clip here as well, because we've heard some more classical songs. We've also heard some fusion and blends, but I don't think anyone's ever heard, what we're about to play right now. Here's Liar, Liar. So that is Liar, Liar. Madam XD, when she comes on stage, when you transform to this other person, you put on your rocker boots, you got your outfit on, and you're on stage, what does it feel like to be able to express yourself, after doing a classical performance, to come out as Madam XD?
I just have different side of me, that side, that energy side that I have to come out. I mean, I just have to stomp my feet, I have to jump around. That makes me feel good. I feel myself. Like my day start, I like to listen to classical music to start my morning, and a little bluegrass on the road, and when I'm driving, and then at night, rock and roll, and I rock, and then before I go to slow, I listen to smooth jazz. Oh, what a day! What a day! Without music, what is life for me? I cannot speak for other people, but for me, people, asking what is music to you? It's everything.
So we're getting down to the end of the wire here, and I don't want to leave without us talking about the upcoming show. April 24th, happening at the Hawk Theater in Farmington Hills. Beautiful, beautiful space. You have your own premiere for your own piece, Hometown Reflections. Now, in the title of Hometown Reflections, hometown, are we talking China? Are we talking Detroit? Or are we talking both? Or neither?
We are talking both.
Wow.
Now Detroit is my new home. I mean, since, 2005, it's my new home. So we're talking about hometown reflection. Actually, when I was writing that piece, I almost put a little Detroit in there, like and then little Zeppelin in there. But I said, okay, I have to, I got only 6 minutes. I got a song, only 6 minute music. I cannot put so much. But in my next one, that will be Detroit. You'll hear Detroit there.
And it's odd that you say that because when I'm listening to your music, especially some of the tracks we just played, I hear Detroit.
Awesome.
I hear so much of the soul, of the jazz. I can hear the R&B. You can just hear so many different little touch points of Detroit's history through your music. And, we talk about the city of Detroit being this place where so many are inspired. And then here you are saying, this has been my home since 2005. Talk about, just what it's been like for you performing in front of a Detroit audience or an audience that's embraced and appreciated your music.
I'm so, every time I go to a free concert series, like Concert of Colors, Detroit Festival of Arts, those free, I feel so good. And, you can have this free for people who doesn't go to the concert hall or couldn't afford a ticket. I feel that is so awesome for people, grateful for people who do this. And then, the Ishmael and started the festival, Concert of Colors. That's where I played many times. And one time, actually, we did one concert in Dearborn, the Eric Museum, National Museum, and I did a half concert classical. Then I changed to the rock and roll, and I go to those concerts and I, listen to Detroit because I just have such a, I admire what way Detroit have. And I listen to those music. I am part of it. I want to be part of it. I am part of it. I live here. I live, I feel this every day. And so I think that's just so natural for me. It will all blend in. We all blend in. So this concert, in the 24th, I'm playing with Michigan Philharmonic. The music director and the conductor, Nan Washburn, she had been here since 1999. She totally transformed this orchestra to be an awesome orchestra. You have to hear. No, okay, you don't have to hear me. You have to go there, hear the orchestra, They have this great sound. I love her, and I love the orchestra. I love the energy she has, and she's very innovative, very adventurous.
Thank you so much for that. Xiao Dong Wei is a multi-instrumentalist, a master of the erhu, and an educator. Charles Ezra Ferrell is a longtime culture and arts organizer here in Detroit and is on the advisory board for Concert of Colors. On April 24th, Sounds of the Pacific Rim will invite audiences to explore the sounds of the Oscar-winning score for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. The concert includes a pre-concert talk beforehand featuring Pacific Rim instruments, the erhu, and the Japanese taiko drums. Xiao and Charles, thank you both so much for joining me on the Metro today. I look forward to seeing you in concert April 24th.
Thank you, Tia.
The great Tia Graham. Thank you.
We'll be right back. This is the Metro.